Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for top producers, by top producers, and with none other than the nation's top producers. We're also powered by our local platform here called Tampa Bay Real Producers, and that is a platform where we feature the top 500 producing real estate agents in the Tampa Bay market. You can check us out, by the way, at topproducersnation.com, which is where you'll get a chance to see the different resources and the community that we've built to help agents become a top producer in their desired market, whatever market that may be. So today we get to hang out with my man, Derrick Silvers. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, Don. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no doubt.
We experienced audio problems during the recording of this episode and have fast-forwarded to a point when the problem was resolved.
For a lot of agents
Absolutely.
to be able to make that thing happen.
Yep.
And then, like most good things, once it's too good, they try to figure out ways to screw it up, right?
Of course, yes.
And take it away from the source. But
No doubt.
By that point, it sounds like you were able to smartly replicate some of that success just through a referral system.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely,
And
yep.
how that program is built out.
Yeah.
Today, is the majority of your business referral based today?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And actually, the last 2 years has been strictly, at one point it was 100% from pickleball.
Oh, right.
I love to play pickleball. I played tennis all my life, converted to pickleball. And
All kinds of ways to prospect out there.
absolutely, yeah. So, it was great. The more pickleball I played, the more clients I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, and is that obviously in Pinellas County somewhere? You're like a local club or something that you joined?
Bardmore. Yeah, I grew up playing tennis at Bardmore, through my teenage years, and then went and played in college. And then a friend of mine took over the club, and when I went to see him probably 6 years ago, he said, "Have you ever played pickleball?" I said, "I don't even know what that is."
Yeah.
And so we went out and we hit, and I was like, it got me right away. It was super, super fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I played for the first time 3 months ago.
Okay.
A buddy of mine, and similar story. I didn't really play tennis competitively, but I had a tennis court by where I grew up, and so I did play every now and again. I got decent at it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play it for decades.
Yep.
And then my buddy asked me to go and play pickleball with him recently, and I had a blast. I wiped him on the floor, and I just I was like, I got a knack for this game.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
kind of fun. I can see why it would be addicting.
It is.
And there is a pretty avid community of it now.
Absolutely. No, it's huge. It's
Yeah.
grown in leaps and bounds. And, I love competitive sports, but the camaraderie you find in pickleball is beyond anything I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It
good.
makes sense. So it sounds like a lot of your business is coming from just that community and being able to tap into your own passions, your own pleasures, and then making sure that you're speaking out loud about what you do for work, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So that people can resonate with it and the
Yep.
network kind of builds from there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you have found that's worked for you, Derrick, in terms of referral process, referral systems, or is there anything that you do intentionally, or has it just been very organic and it just kind of comes in?
It's been mostly organic.
Yeah.
I will say email marketing has definitely helped me stay in touch, and so, we talk about social media and how big that is right now. But, a lot of times, unless you're super consistent with, posting, I would say that if we, really looked at people that are doing social media, that the ones that are really building their business off of that are probably, it's minuscule.
Yeah.
Because you got to be consistent, and it's
Yeah.
a billboard.
Takes patience.
Absolutely, it does, right? So I find, just staying in contact, every once in a while, showing people, making sure that they know you're still doing business, and then it's organic. It's nice to be, 11 years in the business and just get that phone call, because they know you, they like you, they trust you.
For sure.
And I've got people that appreciate the fact that I'm not, overly trying to sell myself all the time. We've got a house in Shore Acres we have under contract right now, and that's literally what they said. They said, "We know when we need you, Derrick, that you're there."
Yeah.
And I like that because, I don't want to be, some of these people do become friends, right? Yeah. But the thing is that, as long as they know I'm doing business and they know that I can get the job done, that's all that really counts for me.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting when you think about what's been your best year in terms of volume and units. Any idea?
Yeah, a little over 20 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of how many transactions, do you know?
Around 60.
Okay. So when you think about that number, because I've interviewed a lot of top producers over the years now, and to do 50, 60 units in a year organically is not easy, right? Like
not at all.
usually there's some sort of paid lead source that has to kind of come in arm in arm so that you can have that type of volume.
Yep.
And it's impressive when every now and again I'll talk to an agent who's doing over 40 deals a year, and it's pretty much all organic.
Yeah.
And so that really speaks to their intentionality with the relationships and how that actually builds on another.
Yeah.
What percentage of your deals nowadays, Derrick, come from like repeat business of clients that you served before?
I would say 80%.
So it's that high?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So obviously that speaks to the relationship component as well. Do you do anything to maintain those relationships? You mentioned email marketing. Is there like client appreciation events or anything else that has happened over the years?
I did that a lot in the past. And I don't know if it just gets to a certain point where you can, kind of you'd be coasting.
Yeah.
But
you're there, huh?
I would say so. And also, it depends on what you want to do. I don't want to do 60 deals a year again.
Right.
That was hard.
Right. Was that just you or with a team?
That was with a team.
Okay.
So that's when I brought the parents in. I hired some people that were a little bit newer, but I knew they had good connections.
Yep.
And I gave them an incredible split.
Yep.
I wanted them to succeid.
Yeah.
And 2 of them didn't make it in the business. The other 2, I knew I was training them to leave me in a year.
Yeah.
And that was okay. I wanted them to succeed. I really did. And so, keeping it focused on helping
Better
people.
Than have them
helping
not
other people.
succeed and stay with you, right?
This is true. Yeah. Yes. That's tough. But I think, it depends on where you want to be. It depends on what you want to do. I like it now. Quality of life is huge, for me.
Yeah.
And so being able to have a good quality of life and be able to help people, when it comes down to it, I get motivated to help people. I have to, everybody,
Is that the most fulfilling part of the business today?
It is. That's what motivates me.
Just working with buyers and sellers directly and being able to see how it really does change their lives when they find the right property.
For sure. Yeah. I can be motivated, but when someone asks me to help them, I'm way more motivated than just motivating myself. Yeah.
So when you think about like a new year, like we're in now, 2025 and so forth, like how do you go into a new year like this? Do you usually set goals for what you're going after? Do you have anything laid out, or you just kind of take it? You seem like the type of guy who just kind of takes things at ease. I know you got the long hair growing, chest hair's flowing out there. I mean, it's like, nothing's really going to bother Derrick, right, Rob?
I try to fit myself into a box for so long.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe in the social norms. I don't believe in that stuff. I just don't. Growing out the hair, it's a good point that you make, because for so long I cut my hair because I wanted to be the salesman type. Right, exactly. You were supposed to do that. But my thing is now, if people don't like me for who I am, that's okay. And if they don't want to do business because I've got longer hair, that's okay. I it's taken a long time for me to discover me and be me and be okay with that. And I'm not going to get all the business, and that's okay. But the people that I work with, most of the time are the people, that I'm able to help. And again, it goes back to that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the signal for maturity there, Derrick.
Yeah. It only took me, what am I, 35, babe?
The beard might be 35.
You're just about right.
It looks good, though. I think I could tell that you have a charismatic personality that I think people can be attracted to, and you just being genuine, right? And that's really what matters, I think, especially in this business as you try to grow. So what type of clients do you normally serve? Is it any type of niche, or just all over the map?
Yeah, it's all over the map. Like right now we've got 3 new home builds that we're working on. So I like to challenge myself. Again, it's not getting bored in one place, and so we like to focus a lot on listings. I like to do the listings. I don't mind working with buyers. It's just that the listings is what we like to do.
Sure. Yeah.
So if I can continue doing that, that's great. But we've got someone we're going to be listing their place here soon, and they're buying a place. I'm not going to say no.
Right.
We're going to help them and do our best.
Makes a lot of sense. What would you say your favorite part of being a realtor is today?
I love marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the marketing aspect of that, and so that's where the listings come in.
Yeah.
And so
is that through video and some of the social media stuff you touched on?
It is. Yeah. And love to like I don't want to talk against realtors, but you see so many like write-ups. Write-ups, sometimes you see like 2 sentences. And even if the house, maybe it doesn't have a pool, maybe it doesn't, not on the water or stuff like that, but there's still enough to tell about that house to intrigue
That's
somebody.
That's kind of your job, is to tell a story that is sellable,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
And then the photos, it's funny, nowadays you can have somebody go out and do incredible photos. But when they send those photos, a lot of times, maybe if they're doing drone photos, the first 15 are, just drone photos of the exterior. And you see the first 15 photos of the drone photos of the outside, and so it's stacking, it's drawing those people in the right way. It's putting the first 5 photos, the best photos, within the first 5, and then walking them through the house. And
there's definitely a strategy behind it.
Yeah.
It is an art, really. And so for some people that is not doesn't come natural, and for others who do enjoy marketing, like it seems like you do.
Yeah.
Like there's an angle there that you have to be able to see certain things as far as how it's going to be appealing to the potential buyers on that other side.
Sure.
You mentioned that you have a knack, or at least an interest in video.
Yep.
Is there anything that you feel like you do video based that is different than what you normally see out there?
Yeah, walkthrough videos, like really taking the person through. I like editing videos. I like putting the music behind it. I like doing those things.
You're one of those weird guys, like editing videos? I don't know.
I do.
This is a weird guy who does that too. I'm like, man, that's my part I don't like. I love being in front of the camera. I'll do content, but the editing part, that's rough for me.
That's artistic side for me.
Yeah,
that's
that.
fun. I can get it. I love putting the good music behind it. And I always tell people, I'm not shy, but put a microphone or a camera in front of me, and I'm going to light up, and I have no problem with that.
Right.
And so, and a lot of realtors are scared of that, but I've worked with a lot of realtors and helped them to show them that they're actually good at video. Again, it's an art form. It's doing small.
You never feel like you're good at it
together.
until you just start doing it.
This is true.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's the fear of trying it. Yeah, it's the fear of just trying. Just try it, and you might surprise yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that a big part now of your strategy with your listings? Is just showing them, even if it's on like a prospect appointment, showing them videos you've done for other homes before and helping them see what your vision would be for their property?
That's exactly it. We were talking about going viral. I think the videos that I make, if you put them next to some other videos that are on YouTube that get 1 million hits, and I'm getting 30, but exactly what you said, it's showing the customer that you're going above and beyond, and you're doing more than what another realtor is going to do.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to work.
Yeah.
You don't. It might be the photo, it might be the write-up, it might be the video, and having the video, in the MLS, knowing that you can't put certain things on the video in the MLS. It can't lead back to you.
Right.
It's got to be generic. It's got to, knowing those things is huge, because a lot of people don't know that. Matterport, I think that's a huge one. We do Matterport for every single one, the virtual walkthrough.
Yep.
Because the thing is that you can have all the photos you want. You don't know the layout of that house.
Right.
And Matterport allows you to walk through the house and know what the layout is. You can say split, floor plan, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
Where's the bedroom?
Barry Lively, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's one of our partners too with Real Producers, and he was actually the first guy who walked me through Matterport.
Okay.
When I was in, he's an awesome dude. He's got a great personality as well.
does.
But he does a lot of that
Yeah.
for real estate agents. So I'm familiar with with what you're describing. Yeah.
I met Barry because of you.
Yeah.
Because that's who you had to do the photographs for the article.
Yep. Do you work with him now?
I've used him.
Oh, cool.
I've used him as well for photos.
He's a great dude, and I know he's
yeah.
good at that Matterport thing. So he that was a big part of his whole marketing campaign himself there for a little while.
Yep.
Cool. So for people again to get to know you a little bit more, even on the personal side, if they don't know your backstory. So hobbies, interests. What do you love to do other than pickleball when you're jamming in real estate?
Obviously pickleball. Well, again, I've got to be busy quite a bit. So my girlfriend and I, we work together, which is amazing. She actually does the incredible write-ups.
She was shy. She didn't want to jump on camera, apparently. But she's over here hanging out, looking fabulous. And she's an interior designer, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. Yes, a little bit of an interior designer. All right, perfect combo for the flipping business. Anyway.
Absolutely, she makes the place look good. So when I do the photos or someone comes
That's
in and
important.
does the photos, it's
very important.
Very important. But the other thing that we love to do is we like Storage Wars. We love to buy storage lockers and go through.
Oh, really?
Sometimes we use those for staging, or we sell them
I
on
used
eBay
to love watching that on TV every now and again.
It's fun. Yeah, that's part of our fun.
Ever find any gold that way, or what?
We found some cool stuff. We haven't found the gold bars just yet.
No gold bullion?
Yeah, no.
Hanging out in a case somewhere?
No, we love to do that.
I've seen the episodes where they find like old newspaper articles, and it's like some of these newspapers are worth money that have been sitting there for 50 years, you know?
Never know.
Right.
And the thing is, now you got Google Lens, which is great because it'll tell you, things that you didn't know about, because I mean, I'm sure there's, I've probably thought, oh, this is worth money, and the thing I discarded was probably the one worth, $100,000.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So we have fun with that, and really just like to relax.
Yeah.
Who
doesn't?
Again, it goes back
with
to
all
the quality of life.
I know you're in Pinellas County based. With all the storms and stuff that we dealt with this past year. Did that hit you hard at all?
Yeah, personally it didn't.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
clients
we're
obviously
involved for it, but clients. We have some that we were about to put their house on the market in Shore Acres, and unfortunately,
that area always
got
floods.
Flooded. It does. I
always.
tell people, I say, if you spit on the ground, then it's going to flood in Shore Acres.
Right.
Luckily they are making the right moves right now. But there's investors coming from New York. We've got it under contract, and they're buying a bunch of them in there, and so that's good.
Yeah.
I know the Barrier Islands are having a tough time.
Yeah.
We've got a listing there as well, and fortunately the guy doesn't live there. He doesn't need to sell it. It was bought for his parents, and so that's okay. But
do you work at all with investors that? I mean, I know that there is a lot of investors now kind of taking advantage of some of these opportunities, right? That are happening all over the coastlines.
Yeah.
Do you have a clientele base at all tied to investors or not really?
Yeah, we do have investors, and then, sometimes we'll do it ourselves,
Sure.
So, but yeah, a lot of people are having a tough time, I think with the permitting, and I think that unfortunately a lot of the small municipalities weren't geared up for this. They weren't ready for this.
No, they weren't.
The disaster relief plans are nil. We've been fortunate, that we haven't had something like this in a long time. Hopefully it doesn't happen again anytime soon or at all. But yeah, there's a lot of tough stories out there right now.
Yeah, it was my news feed was filled there. Obviously, with what I do, there's a network of agents that I've gotten to know over the years, and many of them are Pinellas County based. And so it was pretty sad to just see the devastation from some of their personal homes, as well as obviously a lot of their clients.
Yeah.
And I know that there's still a lot of people struggling with all that out there now. So being a Pinellas County, realtor, I'm sure you kind of saw the effects of that in some capacity over the years. But it's just kind of part of all the joys, I guess, of living in Florida. You're going to have there's no perfect place to be, I guess.
No, that's what we say. I mean, if you want to live in paradise, you're taking a chance, right? I mean, look at California right now. A lot of people love to live in California. So, I mean, if you want to live on the water, you're taking a chance.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, it is, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, a couple rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite book, author, seminar that has ever made a big impact on you personally or professionally?
It's a good question that I can't answer because I can't remember the name of the book. But I don't read a lot, but I read a lot of excerpts of things that basically about mindset.
Okay.
It's basically what you think upon grows is a great one that comes out of the book. And
Think and Grow Rich is the original.
There's another one
OG
too.
of that whole space.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I think that it's getting things from different places. It may not be me sitting down and reading a book, but I was just reading.
Do you listen to any podcasts or anything like that?
Yeah, go back and forth. Actually, Andrew Huberman, he's a neuroscientist, so he kind of tells you why you're thinking things and how to get through that, and concentrate on breath work and meditation and those type of things. I got into.
So that's where the long hair comes in. It's the meditation.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm a guru now. But no, I got into. You
just need
VR.
One of those bongs in here, bro. Derrick can lead us in a little bit of a meditation process. I think we need that in our lives.
I quit doing the bongs, but no.
Different style of bong. Is what I was
exactly. Yes, yeah. But I got into I got a lot into like meditation, where you were looking at through VR glasses, like looking at things that put you into theta. Put you in a different mindset where your imagination gets kicked in. Dali used that technique. Edison used that technique.
Is there any acid involved with this as well, or no?
No. No.
That's put to the side.
Not anymore. Yeah, last week I quit, but no, joking. But getting again back to mindset.
Yeah,
because you got to go in with a positive attitude.
Without a doubt, especially in sales, man.
Yeah,
you can't be in a sales career if you're if your mindset is just constantly berated and people don't want to be affected by that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it makes a lot of sense in the world.
Rick Rubin's new book, I didn't know this about him, but he's produced a lot of the great musicians. And so he was getting interviewed on one of the late night shows, and they said, what's your favorite instrument? And he goes, I don't play an instrument. And then they said, well, are you good with the soundboard and stuff like that? He goes, never worked a soundboard. So this guy's producing some of the greatest hits we've ever seen in our life, and he doesn't play an instrument, he doesn't work a soundboard, doesn't do any of those things. And his thing was to quiet his mind enough for the creativity to come out.
Yeah.
And so that's where that's what I believe in. Quieting the mind enough, having peace of mind, and then you can make strides in your life.
It's interesting. Have you seen the Aaron Rodgers thing on Netflix called Enigma, where he goes into a dark room for 4 days?
I have not seen that, but I've seen it pop up, but I haven't watched it yet.
That's what it reminds me of kind of what you just said, is like his idea of going into a dark cave, basically, for 4 days by himself, which is a different level of intense, right?
Sure.
But it's all about peace and that silence and just being with your mind and seeing where that takes you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could sign up for that anytime soon, but
you're too busy.
No, I guess so. I have 5 kids at home too, so they would be like running in the cave, and it would just be chaos.
Yes.
I try to get some peace and quiet in my home office, and that doesn't usually work. So,
Gotcha.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
Do you have a favorite TV show or movie?
We love to watch murder mysteries, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Maybe it makes me feel like my life is better than that person. So that helps.
It's funny. I was having this conversation recently with some people, and it's like some people can watch like serial killer documentaries, and it's like before they go to bed, and it's serene and it calms them down somehow. And it's like, to me, if I watch that, I'm like jittery, and it's like, I don't want to go to sleep right now, you know? So it's funny how we all get affected differently by different elements of content.
Sure.
But so the murder mysteries are your thing, huh?
Yeah, we like that a lot. Yeah, I can fall asleep to that. We can fall asleep to that. If you put on UFC or any type of fighting, I can't sleep the whole night.
Right.
I'm sitting there
you get too jacked up.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, why am I clenching my fist?
Are you a UFC fan?
I like it sometimes, but I literally can't sleep if I watch it, so I can't do it.
So just watch it during the day, I guess.
Yeah,
is the way to go.
Maybe get pumped up if I need to. Maybe I watch it in the morning.
If you had to share one piece of advice for newer agents that are trying to become top producers in their market, what's one thing that you would share?
Think outside the box. Think outside the box and don't be scared.
Yep.
Knock on for sale by owner's door. This is more than one, but it goes into this. Like different techniques. If you see somebody with a tarp on their house, make sure you got a roofer's information and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I got a roofer or an offer. What do you want?" Yeah. Like you got to do more, but actually. Sometimes when you ask a question, my mind goes and I don't think of it since it's rapid fire. But pickleball was huge for me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be pickleball. It doesn't have to be, something that you're doing that's sports.
Find a community.
Find a community, because people do business, as I said earlier, with people they know, they like, and they trust.
Yeah, totally.
You don't have to be raising, come in with a realtor flag. Let them get to know you. Let it come naturally, and just let them understand who you are. Let them get to like you.
Yeah.
And then they're naturally going to use you when it comes up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I told you off camera that we're launching this thing called Top Producers Nation as a consulting group, but we based it on these 4 principles. The first of the 4 is this concept of finding what we call your USP, right? Your unique selling proposition.
Yep.
And some people hear that terminology and they don't exactly they pigeonhole what that means.
Yeah.
But it can mean so many different things for different people, and it could just be a community, could be your USP, right? Like that's your unique selling community and group where you become the big fish in a small pond. And a lot of agents that I brought on the show who have been top producers have done that even without even recognizing it, right? Or thinking about it. It's kind of just happened organically in some cases, but whether it's through their church or through their community organizations or just their neighborhood, or maybe that's a veterans community that they serve, and that's been a niche that they've been able to tap into, or a senior community. We've had agents who have specialized in that, like senior living. That's such an important thing. And then another way to define that is like even a lead source could be a USP, right? Like you can be the video guru, right? And that can be a way that you distinct yourself and distinguish yourself, I should say, from other agents in the market. And I think that's such the critical component is when there's 17,000 plus agents, which there are in Tampa Bay, the vast majority of them are not doing very much volume. How are you going to stand out? Because you can't walk across the street and not meet somebody who's an agent. Right? So ultimately, you have to be different in some way. And thankfully, there's a lot of different ways to do that. But finding your niche, which is tied to, I think, what you just said about building the community.
There was a guy who was Rookie of the Year, young guy, years ago, and I want to know how he did it. And so what I found out was every month he just put together like a little get-together. And so, I'm sure at first it was kind of small, and it doesn't have to be, at a bar or restaurant. It could be at Panera, they've got those rooms in the back. And so, maybe offer some free coffee or whatever you want to do. But he started to invite friends. He started to invite, partners, mortgage brokers, those type of things. They invited people. And then he started getting deals. And then he started inviting the past clients, and now he was inviting new people that he met. And then they're talking with the past client. I mean, what better than to put him face to face with a past client who's saying, hey, this person really did a great job for me, and became Rookie of the Year by just holding, one event a month.
And that's not like that. Maybe it's even open houses for some agents, right? Like whatever it is, there is a unique way that you can be different.
Absolutely.
And once you identify what you're most excited to do, that's what I think it's important to stay consistent, right? And be with that. Two more questions for you. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you've had to face as an agent? Maybe where it was a moment, or maybe it was a specific thing that happened. Anything come to mind?
Don't get mad at me, other agents.
No, I think that's a real one.
It's tough, and this goes back to my first year or years in real estate, being able to talk to my parents, because there's so much going on. There's so many different ways to structure a deal. There's so many different things going on, and it's difficult to know everything or know how to get the deal to the finish line. And so that's really the toughest part sometimes. And a
lot of times an agent can be their own worst enemy, and they don't necessarily know that the way that they're communicating with the other agent on the other side of the transaction is on the verge of blowing the deal up, right? And that's a big part of why we tried to create Real Producers too, was to try to create a community where agents can collaborate, at least the top producers can build maybe more of a real relationship, so that those deals are less likely to fall apart at the finish line. But it happens all the time.
It does, because deals are pretty easy. The contract's not too hard, I mean, I will say though, another answer to that is doing deals in communities, condo communities, those type of things. You have
those HOAs never make it easy, do they?
You already have so many people privy to a deal, and then when you add more people to it, it becomes difficult. I mean, I don't know how they can streamline that, but you've got some that are self-run. You've got some that are use project people in charge of the community, and it just becomes tough. It becomes tough to do your job. You might be able to bring it to the finish line, but you've got 5 other people that you got to say, hey, come on, let's go. If you can do your part, we can get this done.
I wish I had an answer for that one. That's above my pay grade.
I think it's above everybody. I don't know if we can figure that out, but it's tough. When you get people involved, it can be tough.
The more hands that are involved in the pot, the trickier it is to get to the finish line. And ultimately, what's the real goal is just to make sure that the buyer and seller are happy, right? That's what everybody should be focused on. But
100%.
Obviously, other people have their own self-interest involved too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I get it. So, Derrick, we'll end with this to put a little bow on the episode. But I always try to get people to think, now this should be easy for you since you love to meditate and kind of be reflective. when you do have that time, hopefully many, many years from now, when you're sitting on that rocking chair and thinking about your legacy, right? And what you'd want to be most remembered for, not necessarily just as an agent, but it could be personal or professional. What do you think would be most important to you in terms of that legacy and what you'd want to be most remembered for?
Yeah, that I was honest and that I did the best that I could, and that I made sure that I was serving everyone as best as I could and doing it with love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think with the business success you've had over the years, the fact that so much of a high percentage of it has been repeat clients, somebody must be feeling that, right?
I hope so.
Because they're not saying to themselves, "I'm never going to work with that jerk again." Right. You know, so that's a win, right? That's definitely a win.
Be out there. You turn off the comments for these, right?
That's exactly right. Well, we're going to put a bow on the episode the way we always do. Thanks for being here today, Derrick. If somebody did want to reach out to you, just to pick your brain, maybe see if they can invite you to pickleball or something, what's the best way for someone to reach you?
Yeah, call me, text me, 727-709-5380. Always open to a conversation. Would love to talk to you. You can interview us, and we'll interview you and make sure that we're right for the job.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So we'll get that on the description as well so that people can do that. We always end the episode with a challenge to the audience. So whether you're watching or listening through any of the 15 plus podcast platforms, if you haven't subscribed yet, by the way, just click the button below. That way, every time that we drop a new episode, you'll be notified, which we drop an episode every week. So click that subscribe button. That way you'll know that. But what is one takeaway? What is one action step that you can take from our conversation today with Derrick that'll help propel you forward personally or professionally? If you took the time to listen to this episode and then you don't do anything about it, you're going to lose a lot of the value that you invested in listening to the show. So just do something. It could be a little thing. It could be literally identifying your USP. We talked a lot about that. Maybe it's you need to get a little bit better at video, like Derrick talked about, and you might want to take a class on that, or just figure out an app that you can, I don't know if you want to do your own editing like I don't, but you might want to do something in that world, right? Derrick talked a lot about the importance of organic relationships with the agents, but it was really tied to the fact that he built it through his community. And so again, what is that community for you that you can tap into? Or maybe you just want to play some more pickleball as well and play with someone as a pro like Derrick. But what is it going to be? Do one thing, one action step today that's going to propel you forward, and that way the time that you invested was worth it. You can check us out again at topproducersnation.com. See all the community there, see all the resources that we have in place for agents to be able to become top producers in their desired market. And we will see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. See you later.